another edition of Infield Fly, talking baseball with you as we near September. We are here. We are here, the final month of the regular season, and we're getting closer to the postseason. A lot still to be decided, especially in the National League wild card. We will talk about that. We'll talk a lot about what's going on in Major League Baseball. A lot of news in Major League Baseball this week as well. I'm Rob Fisher. I'm a Cardinals fan, thus there's no Cardinals
anywhere.
On. No, I got nothing. On.
Wow.
Yeah, it's it is what it is. Lang Whitaker is here. He's a Braves fan. Hello, Lang.
Hey, what's up?
He's wearing that. And Keith Murphy, Cubs fan. He's got his Cubs hat on. Yeah, go Cubs. Go Cubs, go. As they are making a push to the postseason as well. The big news, though, fellas, this week, and really is why this is going to be our last show. There's really no reason to have another show. Shohei Ohtani.
You're right.
He's still playing?
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
He's still DHing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, he's knocking out home runs, though. DH.
Yeah, he's doing that, But torn UCL, won't pitch again this season.
Sad.
Boy, there's a lot of discussion going on about what's going to happen to Shohei Ohtani's future. Whether or not he should ever pitch again, whether or not he should be a closer, whether or not he could possibly play outfield. I guess they're all fair questions here. When a guy's going through possibly a second Tommy John surgery, you have to wonder what's going to happen with his pitching going forward.
I mean, from what I've read, and look, I'm not a doctor. I just play one on this podcast. The second the first Tommy John surgery, people seem to recover at this point almost better than before, But the second one can be sort of problematic. So that's one issue. Number two, if he has Tommy John surgery, he's out for a while, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
There's also the chance that he doesn't have Tommy John surgery and just hits for a while and you see if it heals or gets better. I don't know. I mean, it's a heck of a time. To me, the shocking thing of the whole thing was the way the Angels sort of, I don't know if they meant to or they did on purpose or they let out that like he felt some discomfort a couple of weeks ago and they urged him to have an MRI and his team passed.
Yeah.
Because that seems to kind of like put it on him that something could have been. We didn't have to get to this point.
Like we did our due diligence here.
Yeah.
Like our team did it. You guys, Shohei's team didn't really take it serious.
And that makes me think they're like, all right, we're done with this guy. Like, because if you're Shohei, you're like, we're in a partnership here. Like, why are you putting this information out?
Yeah.
And I'm about to be a free agent, and it seems like you're not like doing your part with this relationship, at least publicly. Maybe behind the scenes, this was talked about and agreed upon, whatever. But if I'm Shohei, I'm like, man, keep this in house. Like, what? We're about to have a negotiation here. Like, I would want to be on good terms with this guy.
Yeah. Well, maybe because they're trying to save their own rear end.
That's exactly what it is. Fish.
Because Shohei said that he was cramping and had arm fatigue a few weeks back. And the Angels didn't do anything. There was no imaging. So,
but they're saying we suggested it.
Right.
They didn't at first. They didn't say that at first. But then when the Angels started getting killed, why the hell didn't you do any imaging? Why didn't you check this guy's arm? What are you doing? And then it was like, well, he said he didn't need it, so we decided not to do it. So I think they're kind of saving their own butt here. But
are they?
I mean, there was some conspiracies going around that they were doing this to drive down the price. That's the rumor. Like they were actually doing this so teams wouldn't throw their best offers so they could try to keep it. I mean, that's just the rule.
That they let him get hurt to drive down the price?
No. That they announced it early. Like they announced it like, we tried to do something so teams can know, oh yeah, this guy's hurt.
I mean, the injury is what drives down the price, not that he didn't want to get looked at by a doctor.
But how serious the injury? That's the deal. Now it's all came out that it's really serious. But early on, we didn't know how serious it was.
Now they've made it very clear. Phil Nevin even said in an in-game interview yesterday, they were asked about Shohei and is there a point where he shuts it down? And they've made it very clear by saying when he tells us he's done playing this year, he's done playing this year. So it's all
on him.
Shohei's decision
All
at this point. And then I think to myself, well, going forward, you know, if this impacts his free agency,
yeah, I mean, it's going to.
A team like the Mets, they don't care. We'll give you $700 million, and you know, hopefully you can pitch and you'll be able to hit. But I think a lot of teams would be cautious and wondering, okay, well, what are we going to do here? You know, because initially the thought was we're paying for two superstars,
right?
A superstar pitcher and a superstar hitter. Well, now what are we paying for? Are we paying just for a superstar DH? Or are we paying for a superstar DH plus superstar pitcher? And I think that's a fair question at this point.
But if you're paying for a superstar DH/hitter, I mean, Judge got paid, right? Like, I mean,
$340 million.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he's
I mean,
not.
We're talking
not,
500 to 700 million.
Yeah, he's not. He's not getting that. I don't think he's getting that.
So if I'm the Mets, just to put out any team, let's say the Mets, you're rebuilding. You just traded away half your team. You're not going to be good next year, probably anyway. And if you are, it's going to take a lot of offseason work and maneuvering and throwing stuff at the wall and hoping it all sticks, because they tried it a year ago and it didn't work. So maybe you're like, hey man, look, we're going to pay you 600 million, 700, whatever. Have the surgery, take a year off. We're going to trade Pete Alonso, get more prospects. And we're not going to be very good this year. We're going to play all these young guys. And then 2 years from now, when you're healthy, all this stuff is going to start coming to fruition and we'll be ready then.
It's a lot of wishful thinking, man.
Sure.
There aren't a lot of the team you mentioned. Certainly I can see that scenario.
Yeah.
There aren't a lot of teams that are going to go through that scenario.
I don't see the Dodgers doing any part of that. I don't see the Dodgers.
No, I don't think so either. But you only need one team, right? Like that's the one thing we learned. You only need one.
And the Mets
might be that team.
Yeah. I think it's interesting. I think to me, and I was just thinking about this yesterday, wouldn't it be great to have a Shohei Ohtani in your lineup and just say, all right, here's the deal. We're going to pitch you from September on. Wouldn't it be great to have that luxury to pay him that money and not need him until maybe September? I mean, because the bottom line is this year, the number of pitches he's thrown, it's been huge because you go all the way back to the World Baseball Classic.
Right.
Where he was throwing a lot then. And he's throwing a lot now. And you know, you think of it too, just watching him swing and his violent swing, because he's a right-handed thrower and a left-handed batter, his swing, there's so much on that right elbow, that lead elbow, that you wonder how much of that has to do with the impact that pitching has on his elbow because of being a left-handed batter. I don't know. Again, I'm not a doctor either, Lang, but we like to play it on this show. But I wonder if that's part of the issue. And you know, I just think when it comes down to is, even in free agency, it's going to be whatever Shohei wants to do.
Yeah.
You know, does Shohei agree to a deal where he's only going to pitch in September? Does Shohei agree to a deal where he's not going to pitch and he's going to have surgery? Does Shohei agree to a deal where he does have surgery but doesn't pitch for a year, but they still want him to hit? I mean, to me, it's all about what he wants to do. Yeah. And I think that we are getting closer and closer to him being an Angel going forward. I think the Angels will let him do whatever the hell he wants.
I mean, I think
the same.
Here's the other option I thought of, Fish, as you were talking, is like, what if you're a team? You know, the Angels have had to use like a 6-man rotation this year to sort of facilitate Shohei being a regular starter, right?
Right.
What if you're a good team, like the Braves, who from time to time you need to have like a bullpen game, or like last night on Sunday Night Baseball, they called up a guy from AAA to start.
Right.
Like every once in a while you need a start. What if he's like your spot starter?
Yeah. Throws maybe once or twice a month.
Yeah. Twice a month. You know, you need him every once in a while, but let him rest most of the time. Let him just play in left field, you know, DH, whatever. But I think like I don't want to say the pressure, but having to be one of the team's, I mean, not one of, having to be the team's best starter and having to be the team's best hitter, like that's a lot of pressure for anybody and a lot on anyone's shoulders. And maybe the shoulders or the elbow can't withstand that.
There's a reason why that hasn't been done to such a high level that he's done it. Like there's a reason why people don't even go to that uncharted water, because it's hell on your body.
Maybe like, load management is correct.
Yeah, yeah. He can get to the Kawhi treatment.
But it's what makes him the unicorn. It's what makes him a $700 million guy.
But it turns out he's not.
Yeah.
But he's gotta be, man. I mean, if he's not, it's all ruined. I mean, if he was for a couple months. If he's just a DH, he's not an MVP of the league anymore.
Well, if he's
why
DH,
not? He still might be.
He's a DH.
Now listen, fish. If he's DHing and pitching, he will be the MVP.
Yeah.
Well, sure.
You can be the MVP. The question is, if he's just DHing for the rest of his career, he's
not worth that money.
Yeah, but like he doesn't have to. He could play first base, right?
Can he?
Why not? Why not?
I don't know.
Look at Daniel Vogelbach plays first base. Anybody can play first base. Like he can totally play first base. Why not? I mean, they put Bryce Harper there and he could throw. Anybody can play first base. Let him play first base. Then would he be a DH? Probably. I mean, then would he be an MVP? Probably, if he's playing first base. He's on the field at least. Put him in left field. Like, I mean,
my thing is if he's not pitching, he's Matt Olson.
Or he's Aaron Judge.
Well, except Aaron Judge is a Gold Glove outfielder.
Yeah, I mean, don't you think if he is a unicorn and he's one of the greatest, if not the greatest baseball player of all time, he could figure out how to be a Gold Glove outfielder?
I don't know if he could figure something out that like that, Lane. I don't know.
I don't know if that comes to your mind.
True,
because he is a true unicorn and he's an amazing player in baseball to watch. And so for this to happen, and then for questions to come up about his future, is very disheartening.
Yeah.
And you hope it's something that he can get through, and because he's amazing, he's incredible to watch, and I hate the talking heads who are kind of patting themselves on the back. Told you you can't do this. You can't do this in baseball. You can't, and it's also more proof of, well, you can't do this in baseball, which is too bad, because you have some young guys who are coming up who want to do that. Who want to
do it. Yeah, watching people growing up, these kids growing up watching Ohtani is kind of like, well, hell, I can do that. I did it in Little League. I did it in high school. Like, why can't I do it in the pros?
Yeah. So hopefully, I don't know. We'll see what happens, but it's very disappointing. And so this is our last show. That'll do it. Yeah. Meanwhile, baseball has placed Rays shortstop Wander Franco on administrative leave as the league and authorities in the Dominican Republic investigate his alleged relationships with underage girls. Franco, according to the release, is on leave until further notice. The league's release notes that administrative leave is not disciplinary. He has continued to be paid and accrue service on it. 9-3, the Rays without Wander Franco.
Yes, that's what a reason to cut bait. We're going to cut bait.
What is that? Bill Simmons calls it the Ewing theory. Like when one of your best player goes out, and all of a sudden the team goes on a rallies.
Yeah,
I mean, the Braves won the World Series without Acuna a couple of years ago.
That's right. So. Also learned this week a couple of things. Active players with 10 or more seasons of 20+ home runs. Active players. 10 or more seasons of 20+ home runs. Miguel Cabrera and Nelson Cruz each have done it 12 times.
Wow.
Giancarlo Stanton, 11. Freddie Freeman, 10. Evan Longoria, 10. And this week, Paul Goldschmidt added to the list with 10. Good. So congratulations to him.
The Stanton thing trips me out. Like, he has upper echelon talent, and it just seems like you don't even see it sometimes,
Yeah.
It just seems
Goldie?
like he just lacking. No.
Stanton.
Stanton.
Oh, Stanton. Oh, gosh, you really don't see it now.
He pops up on all these type of lists, like these crazy lists that you see,
Right.
And it just seems like he's just so lackadaisical. Like he just doesn't even care.
Oh, gosh, when he doesn't hit a home run, he doesn't run.
Although Goldschmidt just getting to 20 home runs now is a little surprising. But
after his MVP season last year, yeah. Jeff Passan wrote this on Friday night. There were 4,319 pitches thrown on Friday night across baseball. And for the first time on a day with a full slate of 15 games, there were 0 pitch clock violations. How about that? Attendance is up 9.2%. Game time's down 25 minutes to 2:39. And he says the rule changes are a rousing success.
Yeah.
I saw that. I mean, but if there had been one pitch clock violation, does that mean the rule changes aren't a success? That was weird to me. I was like, all right, I saw a pitch clock violation yesterday. That means it wasn't a success. Like,
yeah,
I think we can all agree, just in general, looking at it from a far off kind of fuzzy view, the rule changes are a success.
Yes, they have been. No doubt about it. Another thing I learned this week. How about this? Texas Rangers are paying Scherzer and Seager combined $78 million.
Mm-hmm.
The Angels are paying Trout and Rendon $75 million.
Mm-hmm.
Houston's paying Verlander and Bregman $73 million. The Yankees are paying Judge and Stanton $72 million. The Braves are paying Acuna, Albies, Murphy, Olsen, Harris, Riley $69 million.
Yo, that's what I'm talking about, man. Like,
stupid.
Come on, man.
Although, like, that list of guys you just ran out, like, who was it? Rendon and Trout for the Angels, like,
right.
Verlander for the. I mean, most of those guys. Trout's one of the exceptions. Most of those guys are like free agents. They got brought into places, right?
Yeah.
Like, all those guys you named for the Braves, except for Murphy, were homegrown guys.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. When are your guys headed for your big paydays, Lane? Like, when are your guys are headed for, like?
Nobody anytime soon.
Nobody.
I mean, Acuna will come up in like 3 years, I think.
That's ridiculous.
But yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. Also, Raleigh Fingers turned 77 this week.
Raleigh.
How about that? Yeah, you remember Raleigh Fingers?
Stash.
The mustache.
He's got the great stash. Meanwhile, the Atlanta Braves, good.
Raleigh Fingers would be an awesome name for a rapper. Keith.
Oh yeah, I would do it in a heartbeat.
I was thinking of Sticky Fingers, but yeah. Anyway.
Actually, a punk band too.
Oh yeah, that'd be amazing.
Yeah.
Braves won 4 of 6 this week, taking 2 of 3 against the Mets, 2 of 3 against San Francisco. Ozuna hit 4 home runs in the Mets series, hit number 29 in the San Francisco series. Holy crap. Marcell Ozuna. He's climbing the MVP charts.
National League Player of the Week last week. Like, I don't know what in the world.
You got to explain that
earlier in the year.
He was
horrible.
so bad the first month of the season. So bad. I actually tweeted this last night. I said, I can't remember any Braves player having as dramatic a midseason turnaround as Ozuna has had. He was legit awful the first month of the season. And Brad Rowland, who writes a lot about the Braves, retweeted and wrote in here, his performance in April was extremely bad. The real crazy part is how bad he was for 2+ years. 190 games, 782 plate appearances with a .211 batting average for a hit-only player. Since May 1st, he's been a top 10 hitter in the sport. Like, I don't know what in the world. And it's not like it's like you can say, oh, well, he's on the roids, because it's not like it's just power.
Right.
All of a sudden he's hitting for average. He's getting on base. He's hitting it the other way. Like, it is insane. The one thing that was interesting this week was the Braves played the Mets, and they did that thing where they had the Tom Glavine and Smoltz and in the booth again with Chipper Jones and Franco. And Chipper is he's still on staff with the Braves in some sort of, gray aspect. I don't know exactly what he does, but it's something with hitting and coaching and stuff. And Chipper, like, during the game, sort of just kind of let slip. He was like, nobody on this Braves team works harder at hitting than Ozuna. He was like, he's the most professional hitter on this team. He shows up early every single day. He works on all this stuff. Like, I don't know what changed between May and now, but I don't think it's luck. I don't know if all of a sudden, like, it just took 2 years for it to click or something, but for some reason he's been unbelievable for this team. And I did not see this coming.
No, I don't think anybody saw it coming, but pretty impressive. Ozuna became the 5th different Braves player with at least 25 home runs this season. The most different 25 home run hitters in a single season in franchise history. They joined the Twins of 2019 as the only teams in history with 25 home run hitters before the end of August. Oh, and by the way, Rosario and Murphy each have 20. So they're right on the heels there as well. wanted to give Ozuna a little more love even. He had a 16-game hit streak before this rash of home runs that he's had. He had a 16-game hit streak too. Will Matt Olson get to 60?
Nah,
I don't know.
I don't think so.
I don't think so, but I mean, he's going to get to like what's he got, like 120 RBI, something like that.
Yeah.
Like he's over 100 already. Like I was thinking about that yesterday. He'll probably get up to like 130, 40 RBIs. Like I mean, he's been incredible also, but
Yeah.
I don't think he'll get 60 home runs.
Yeah,
By the way,
Ozuna,
for what it's worth, Ozuna is. I mean, I was thinking about this. He's in a contract year.
Oh yeah, that makes sense.
However, the Braves have a club option for next season for $16 million. So
next year he'll be in a contract year
again. Yeah. Like, I mean, they could have let him go after this season, but
yeah.
I think now he's made the decision easier for them.
God, he was so awful at the beginning.
That's just crazy. That's your devil GM again, like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Signing blood.
Although, I mean, look, we had to put up with Ozuna for the last 2 years, making $16 million a year and just being trash. And now all of a sudden he's great. So
Cardinals put up with him being trash. Then he was good, and the Cardinals traded him. The Cardinals, he was trash, but the Cardinals traded Alcantara and Zach Gallen for him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like one of my least favorite Braves of all time. Actually, my least favorite Brave of all time was Jeff Blauser. And he was terrible, except for 2 seasons where he was like almost like an MVP candidate, and it was both of his contract years with the Braves. And all of a sudden those years he was just lights out, great. They had to re-sign him. Then he was terrible again until the next contract year.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Guys are good at that.
Yeah.
Spencer Strider improved to 15-4 on the season. Charlie Morton starting to pitch well again.
Yep. And Kyle Wright in the minor leagues went, I think, 3 innings and had like scoreless, couple strikeouts, looked great, no hits. So
good. Here come our Braves.
Here we come.
Yeah. Meanwhile, our
Cubbies,
that
stock price up. Get the stock up.
That's right. Get the stock on.
Literally.
The Cubbies now in their last 13 series have won 11 of those series. They've lost 1 series. They've tied another. This week they won 2 of 3 at Detroit, won 3 of 4 at Pittsburgh. First with Detroit, Drew Smiley got a start and got rocked again, so that's not looking good.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what's going on with Smiley. It's weird.
Yeah. Did you watch that series? Do you miss Javi Baez at all?
I miss some of his base running.
What about his swinging of the bat?
Well, the swinging of the bat is like it's a roll of a dice with that, man. Like he'll do something great, but then he'll do something bonehead. So I miss the personality.
I saw a tweet the other day that was highlights of Javi Baez swinging at balls this year, and it was unbelievable.
It's crazy. It's crazy. He will swing at anything, and sometimes when he was at his best, when he was swinging at everything, it would be like he hit bloopers. You know, it's like he's like a golf swing, man.
Yeah. And then the Pirates series, you got 2 good pitching performances. One from Jordan Wicks making his MLB debut.
That was so good.
9 strikeouts in 5 innings. And then Javier Assad goes 7 innings, 7 strikeouts, improves to 3-2. Now playing the Pittsburgh Pirates, but with Smiley kind of getting rocked again, good to see these young guys come up and get opportunities and taking advantage of it.
Yeah, the Cubs were scrambling with their mound guys. You could see that they were like, as soon as they called up Wicks, it was like, okay, I know what this is about. They're kind of spooked right now with their pitching, and Cubs fans being Cubs fans, they were kind of like, oh man, waiting for the bottom to fall out. And I was like, man, come on, y'all, just chill out. Let's see what the young kid can do. And he came out there and was mowing them down. So I feel good, man. I feel good. I feel better because our relief pitching is clicking as well.
Right.
And for once we had a blowout. These wins that we've been having, Fish, have been crazy, man. Like 6-5, 5-4. These heart attack wins we've been having. I don't want to. I don't like that, man. I just give me.
Well, last season and earlier this season, you weren't winning those games. Yes,
we weren't winning that, and that's a sign of a good team. But man, come on, man, stop stringing them together. We have like 3 or 4 of them in a row. Like, come on, man. just win some games easily. Let me be able to turn off the television in the 7th inning.
Cubs currently the second wild card team. They are 2 games up in the wild card standings over San Francisco, who is currently the first team out. They are a game and a half back of the Arizona Diamondbacks for the final wild card spot. So Cubs keep winning series, they'll keep solidifying their spot in that wild card. The Reds moving down a little bit as well. So Cubs in a good spot.
Bellinger, we got to talk about that dude. Man.
Had what, a 5 RBI game?
It's insane, dude. Like, I know. I see Leg over there laughing. Like
the price of the bricks going up.
Listen. We got to just strap that dude down to like a table or something to say, this is what we're gonna give you, man. We're gonna give you a lot. We're gonna give you what you're asking for, but just stay.
Oh, it's gone. It's changed because a couple of weeks ago it was like we're gonna get a hometown discount on this guy. He's gonna take less to stay with us. Now he's like, we'll take whatever you want.
We'll give you what, because we was gonna give it to Ohtani. That was the rumor. So now that Ohtani's has
Bellinger's getting the Ohtani money.
He's gonna get he ain't getting all that money. He's gonna get maybe like 200 some million. I can see that. 250.
You gotta want to hold on to him. I mean, he's been unbelievable.
Yeah,
he's been our best player, and he's been our most clutch player. It's like stupid. If the Cubs don't do this, man, I swear to God, they're gonna be. Fans are just gonna be they're gonna tear Wrigley apart.
Yeah.
Just sign him, man. Don't play around.
Well, the Cubbies doing a nice job there, and in that second wild card spot currently playing good baseball. Cardinals, meanwhile,
they still playing.
Yeah, they are. They're just going through the motions. They lost 2 of 3 at Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Here are the highlights of the losing 2 of 3 at Pittsburgh. Drew Rom pitched his major league debut. Got rocked. Adam Wainwright trying to go for win number 199.
Yeah, he
got rocked.
It's never going to happen.
Richie Palacios, he's on the Cardinals. Never heard of him before this past week. He had a game against his big brother Joshua of the Pirates. Brother had a big game as well. And then the Cardinals go to Philadelphia and get swept 3 games. But Lang, a guy that we saw earlier this year, big old Lucan Baker, former Redbird, called up to the Cardinals. He had his first home run of his big league career, and another controversy with a first home run kind of thing, the ball situation. Luckily, it was in Philadelphia. This lady caught the ball and she thought she was at Wrigley Field and she just threw it back on the field.
Oh, nice.
Like, good. Well, good. We got the ball. So thank you very much. So he got the ball. So that was good. That was exciting. That was an exciting part of the week. The bad thing is Wainwright's just stuck at 198. And, he's got 2 months now, or a month and a week to get to 200. And some people are suggesting maybe he should be thrown into the bullpen at this point and just maybe bring him in situations where maybe you could steal a win here.
It's like a tie game or something. Yeah.
Yeah. Because he's getting rocked, man. He's got nothing. He's got nothing. And you're just leaving him out there to get killed. He's pitching tonight for the Cardinals against Blake Snell. He's got no chance.
If he doesn't get it, if he ends up at 198 or 199, do you think he comes back next year just to get it?
No. Oh, hell no, because it would take him the whole year to try and get that one.
So you're saying that he's just got a straight up dead on, basically. That's what you're saying. Like,
would you rather have Wainwright starting tonight or Ohtani with a torn UCL?
Ohtani. Yeah, I would take Ohtani.
Yeah, he's got a dead arm.
Because Wainwright can throw it as hard as he wants, and it's getting up there about 87.
Yeah.
And
Ohtani was throwing at 90 something with his arm messed up.
Right. That's why I would take Ohtani. So, and Wainwright, his curveball's just kind of flat. I mean, he's just getting hit hard. And I don't know if he's going to find these other 2 wins, which is too bad because 200 would be great for his career. And I don't think he needs to validate his career to any Cardinal fan. I mean, he'll go down as a great Cardinal, and he'll have, he'll be in the Cardinal Hall of Fame, and he'll have a statue one day, and
a statue.
And all deservedly so. But man, this is it's rough to watch this finish because it's just limping to the finish, and every time I almost have that same feeling I used to feel when Rick Ankiel would take the hill for the Cardinals. And I would feel like my heart would just be, beating so fast, like, oh, come on, just throw a strike. Just throw a strike. It's the same thing with Wainwright now. It's like, oh, just don't get hit hard. Just don't get rocked. But he's getting rocked every single time he takes the mound. And it's tough to watch. 3 Cardinal managers split the record the last time the Cardinals finished in last place. It was Whitey Herzog, Red Schoendienst, and Joe Torre. They finished in last place. That was 1990.
How did that happen? Were they just firing people off left and right? Like, what is that?
Well, they fired Whitey and Red took over on an interim basis. Then they hired Torre like a few weeks later.
That's insane.
Yeah, and the last man to manage an entire season with St. Louis and finish last, that was Jack Hendricks back in 1918. Wow. He didn't manage the Cardinals the following year, so we'll see what happens with Ollie Marmol. During the Cardinal broadcast yesterday, I told you guys they were playing in Philadelphia, and they did a nice piece and talked a lot about Steve Carlton, who was known as a great Philly. Amazing that he had a great career with the Cardinals before he went to the Phillies, but he really made his name as a Philadelphia Philly. But just thinking back on it, watching Steve Carlton pitch was one of my favorite lefties to watch of all time. And I thought of, who are your favorite left-handed pitchers of all time? Favorite left-handed pitchers of all time. Murph, who came to mind for you?
Well, my old man's favorite pitcher, God rest his soul, Fergie Jenkins. Just one of those great Cubbies, like the 20 consecutive seasons wins, and just what he did for like a lot of black pitchers, him and Bob Gibson, really meant a lot to folks. Fernando Valenzuela, man. Like I remember just being a kid, just being swept up in a whole Fernando mania thing. And it was crazy because I didn't like the Dodgers.
Right.
He was like the only Dodger that I really loved, and that quirky delivery of his, the fact that he was like this portly dude that you seemed like he had no business on the mound. He was just mowing people down. Nolan Ryan. It's crazy. I was looking up this stat. This cat starts off in the MLB, like 66, 65 or something like that with the Mets, right? Yeah. And he was still pitching in the early 90s and like pitching well.
Yeah.
And I remember those games. I remember, the strikeouts that he got, the final strikeout, and everybody, of course, the knuckle sandwich with the White Sox. Everybody remembers that. But the fact that he was still pitching, and kids my age were still looking at this dude like wow and wonderment, like it's crazy. And I'm gonna get a little bit of Homer here. John Lester, what he did for the Cubbies winning the World Series, the NLCS series where he pitched. He must have pitched 10 times in that series, man. I don't even know. I don't even know how many times. And then in the World Series, pitched like 2 times, and then he pitched relief, Game 7, big games for us. I don't care what he did before his career, what he did after his career. That man's gonna have a free steak for the rest of his life in Chicago.
Lang?
I would, one of the greatest left-handed pitchers of all time played for the Braves, and I never saw him pitch. Warren Spahn.
Yeah.
Way a long time ago, but so I never actually saw him play. My dad was always a big fan of his, but I grew up in the Tom Glavine era, and I probably should like Tom Glavine more than I did. He was just so boring to watch because, he was all about process, and everything was just away, and he didn't care if he walked you, and it was just the worst having to watch him pitch every 5 days. Because there wasn't a lot of creativity or power or anything like that, but he was awesome. So, there's that. So Glavine was a 300-game winner for the Braves. He's on my list. I would also put Randy Johnson on that list.
Oh yeah, of course.
Because he was sort of the opposite of Glavine, right? It was just like he was just going to overpower you, and he just looked so wild. And he had the long hair, and he was tall, and killed a bird in spring training, all that. Like he's on my list. A guy who doesn't have like crazy good stats, but just someone who I used to love watching was Dontrelle Willis.
Oh, I used to love him.
Yeah, he was fun.
The hat, crazy
yeah,
hat.
he had the hat. He was just cool. He was fun to watch. I was always a Dontrelle guy. And then I there's a lot of other guys who were like in that conversation. Sandy Koufax. I never watched him play. Whitey Ford, like all those guys I never saw. So the only other name I kind of kept coming back to was somebody who was just fun to watch, and I liked watching a lot. And when I lived in New York, I saw him a lot. CC Sabathia.
Oh yeah, he was fun. He was fun to root for.
He was fun to root for, and he just competed. Like he was so good at just staying in it and just giving his team a chance. So
yeah, were you a Steve Avery guy?
Nah, not so much. My favorite thing Steve Avery was when he was like a rookie or a second year player, and he didn't know how to dress, and he went clothes shopping with Deion Sanders. Deion got him a whole bunch of clothes apparently, and he showed up dressed like, like I don't know what, but that was my favorite Steve Avery.
Mine, I love my favorite lefty of all time was John Tudor. Because he was a lot. He was one of those guys. I liked his motion. He was such a location guy because he never overpowered anybody.
Yeah.
He was one of those guys that when he threw the ball, you thought to yourself, how do you not hit this ball? How are people not hitting it? But it was just such great location, and his motion was just so flawless. I loved watching John Tudor pitch when he was with the Cardinals. And another one for me is a guy that you mentioned, Murph, even though I should have hated him because his Red Sox beat the Cardinals in the World Series and he was a Cub, but he ended up being a Cardinal at the end of his career, was John Lester. Yeah. I think Lester was just the smoothest looking guy. Just his delivery and the way that he approached each pitch, it was so smooth and awesome to watch. I thought Lester, he was one of my favorites to watch as a lefty as well. And Don Trell's a really good one. I like that one too. But those were my two favorite. I think are Lester and John Tudor. My two favorite.
Were you a Fernando guy as you was growing up, or did you like him?
Yeah, I liked him. I mean, it was Fernando Mania, man. He was he was incredible when he came up in his whole. I mean, how many people our age, Murph, at one point didn't get on top of a mound and look up to the sky before you threw the ball to home plate. I mean, everybody did it at some point because of Fernando. And Fernando played for the Cardinals. How about that? Do you remember Fernando's days as a Cardinal?
I do not remember his days.
I don't either, but you can Google it. It was late. It was not Mania. I'll tell you that. It was something else. But Fernando was with the Cardinals at the end of his career, but he was awesome just because he was such a phenomenon when he came up to the big league. So he was fun to watch as well. Hey, Grizz fans, season tickets are on sale for the upcoming 2023-24 Grizzlies season. Season tickets are the best way to guarantee your seats to the biggest matchups at the lowest prices all season long. For more information, visit grizzlies.com/season tickets or call 901-888-HOOP today. And download the brand new official Grind City Media mobile app if you haven't already. Explore new ways to access your favorite GCM content from your favorite shows and series to news and entertainment. Stay connected with exclusive content at your fingertips with the new Grind City Media mobile app, available on both the Apple and Google Play stores. By the way, the Grizzlies Caravan is back this summer, getting ready for the season. Next weekend, September 9th, I will be in Little Rock for the third straight year, throwing out the first pitch. So
okay, don't muff it.
Get my UCL ready to throw out that first pitch. Yeah, it's 0-2 right now. First two pitches that I've thrown out, both strikes. So I'm coming for the strikeout this year.
Good.
Yeah, that's my key.
I need video of this too, Fish. Like I need to see some video, and I want to see flashing bulbs everywhere, just
from the crowd.
Yeah, from the crowd when you're doing it.
All right, well, we're gonna have to wake them up for that to happen. So, in the National League East, the Braves have run away with the National League East. But what's amazing is the Washington Nationals have stepped ahead of the New York Mets. In the standings. How about that? And the Nationals making news this week. Steven Strasburg retiring after 13 seasons with the Nationals. His numbers are actually pretty amazing for the limited career that he had. 113-62 is his record.
That's great.
That's amazing. A 3.24 ERA, 1,723 strikeouts in 1,470 innings for Strasburg. Those strikeouts are the most in Expos Nationals history. He's the only major leaguer to be drafted first overall and win a World Series MVP. had a magical 2019 where he was 18-6, 5-0 in the postseason, 2-0 in the World Series. He was a World Series MVP. After that season, he signed a 7-year, $245 million contract. 7 years, $245 million, has pitched 31 1/3 innings on that contract. 8 games, over $30 million per start for Strasburg since 2019. Pretty nice if you can get it. But man, I remember when Strasburg made his debut and the Nationals sucked and they had a sold-out stadium. The game was on national television. He came out and struck out 14, and it was like, who is this guy? This is the next superstar in baseball. I also remember in 2015 when the Nationals were good and they decided to shut him down for the rest of the year, and their whole thing was, well, we'll be back and we'll get there. Yeah. And then they didn't until 2019, but they did win the World Series then. But yeah, it's what could have been with Steven Strasburg. It's pretty amazing what he could have been. And
I mean, he had Hall of Fame talent.
Yeah,
but his body just couldn't hold up.
You know? He's a better Mark Pryor.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I can agree with that. Yes.
It's frustrating, you know. There's nothing more frustrating for a fan than like when the players when there's injuries, like when you just, you know,
constant.
Yeah, and there's so much talent, and it's just like, oh, just stay healthy, and you know, you can't blame the guy for not being healthy. Like, he wants to be out there, but
also it shows you that how violent pitching is.
Yeah,
like I don't think we talk about that enough. It's not every time we see somebody pitching, it's not normal. It's not normal to do that. It's not normal to be striking people out at like 95 miles an hour. That's not normal.
I mean, and to his credit, I hate giving Tom Glavine credit, but he figured out a way to, like, there's guys like Glavine who, like, you know, his motion was like a minimum of movement, and, you know, he just never throwing it above 88 miles an hour and just kind of just hitting that corner over and over again. And that's why he pitched 20 something years.
Yeah.
So, I mean, but then there's guys like that who are like Strasburg, who they have to put everything they have into it. And the body can't do that for a long time for most guys.
Yeah. Washington, one of the toughest outs right now. They are in the wild card hunt, believe it or not. 11-4 in their last 15 games. So Washington still trying to stay alive, and they are currently they're 8 games out of the wild card. They're not really in the hunt, but thought it'd be good to say for them. Congratulations, Washington, you're in the hunt. Philadelphia, meanwhile, they are one of the wild card teams. They're the top wild card team right now, and they have a pretty good secure spot there. They won 2 of 3 against San Francisco. They sweep 3 against St. Louis. Schwarber hit 4 home runs this week. He's up to 36. His average up to 193.
I just about to ask you that. What was his average, man?
I told Fish, I told him the other day during that Braves game when all those guys were announcing the former players, they started talking about Schwarber, and they were talking about how it makes no sense for him to hit leadoff for that team, because they were like, if anything, you're not getting on base, and then if the one thing you do is hit home runs, like, do it with people on base.
Right.
Like, they were like, it makes 0 sense. Like Chipper Jones, Smoltz, they were all like in a total agreement. Like, what are they doing?
Yeah, I mean, Ozuna, he's not a guy that you expect to get on base a lot, but you expect him to knock the ball out of the park. Max Muncy, a guy that you expect to knock the ball out of the park but not get on base a lot. They're both hitting like 6th.
Yeah.
Because you expect guys on.
Acuna
I don't understand Schwarber hitting. He's leadoff.
Yeah.
The guy's hitting $193 hitting leadoff. That is crazy. He did join he's the second Philly to hit 35 homers in each of his first 2 seasons with the team, joining Jim Thome, who did it in 2003 and 2004.
Who's the batting coach over there, Fish? Do you know who their batting coach is? Because I for the life of me, someone that good.
Casey at the bat.
Someone that good should not be hitting 195 or whatever that he's hitting now. This doesn't make any sense.
No.
250 max. 250 max, not 190.
Yeah, but I think batting coaches today, for like a Schwarber, it's all about launch angle instead of contact.
Yeah.
I mean, it's when you hit it out of the park. And I think that's what you work on more than you actually work on it. I don't know what batting coaches do now because, I mean, I was thinking about that the other day of, well, batting averages just don't matter. Well, of course they do, because if Shohei's hitting 44 bombs and Schwarber's hitting 36 bombs and Shohei's hitting 310, well, Shohei's certainly more valuable. And he's got triples, he's got doubles. Right. Schwarber's just got home runs. But then it's like up and down lineups. You got guys, I mean, guys hitting from 190 to 300 everywhere in between. So I don't know how valuable batting average is right now.
Yeah. Well, these are also bad teams you're talking about.
Well, that's also true.
Like on the Braves, guys have good batting averages and they work counts
up and down. Yeah, no kidding. Well, good for your Braves, Lang.
Braves.
Nationally, our Braves. That's right. I got stock too. Milwaukee Brewers now have a 4-game lead in the National League Central. They swept 2 against Minnesota. They swept 3 against San Diego. Milwaukee has won 8 straight games. 4-game lead over the Cubs.
Wrong time to get hot, man. I mean, they're blazing right now. I thought they was gonna lose that the game before last they had where they were down by like 2 runs late, and they just took over the lead. Like, man, I can't figure them out, man. It's just a good team. I used to down them a lot, but they're a good team.
Yeah. The Reds, meanwhile, they swept 3 at the Angels. Ellie De La Cruz hit his 11th homer and 6th triple. But then they lost 3 of 4 at Arizona. Diamondbacks are playing really well. Dodgers, meanwhile, they got the top spot in the National League West. They've run away with it. They won 2 of 3 at Cleveland. They won 2 of 3 at Boston. Lance Lynn is 4-0 with the Dodgers since he's come over. Max Muncy hit his 30th. Mookie Betts hit his 35th. Freddie Freeman's got 50 doubles now on the season. Second player in Dodgers history to reach that milestone, joining Johnny Frederick, who had 52 back in 1929. So
I did not call Freeman doing this.
50 doubles.
I did not call him doing any of this, man. I thought
it's just because he can't hit home runs anymore.
I mean, you know, he's still hitting them out.
I guess not. He's hitting it off the wall.
Yeah, he's hitting them off the wall.
I mean, but how much of that? Like, I don't know. I haven't seen the hit charts, but how much of that's because they can't shift on him anymore?
A ton.
Yeah,
the shift. I mean, we talked so much about the rules changes this year, with the exception of the shift, just because everything else has been about timing and time of the game. But the shift, I love it. I love watching baseball now, where a guy, you might hit a ground ball to right field and it might go through. Actually,
yeah,
right.
Or you might hit one up the mid. Remember when it used to be hit one back through the box and you would get on base. And now when you hit one back through the box, chances are you're getting on base again. So, I think it's helped. Cody Bellinger is a guy who the shift has helped immensely. Yes.
Because it was like they would shift and you could just tell, like, people would like bury their hands in their hands, like, oh, he's just gonna ground out again.
Yeah.
Matt Olson too.
Yeah, no doubt. Juan Soto, our friend Juan Soto, launched his 150th career home run on Saturday in his 747th game, along with his 616 walks. He's the 3rd fastest to 150 homers and 600 walks in history, trailing only Frank Thomas and Ted Williams.
Oh. Okay, more Teddy baseball rep.
Teddy baseball. Wani baseball.
Yeah. San Francisco Giants lost 4 of 6 this week, including 2 of 3 to the Braves, 2 of 3 at Philadelphia. They did sign Paul DeYoung, the former Cardinal. He had his debut for the Giants, went 3 for 5, 4 RBIs and a home run. And everybody in San Francisco loved him. And in about 3 weeks, when he has another game like that, they'll love him again.
Yeah, he was terrible against the Braves. The funny thing last night was on Sunday Night Baseball, they made DeYoung wear the mic during the inning, so the announcers could talk to him. And I was thinking, like, man, that must have been like, hey, make him do it. He's the new guy. Like nobody else wanted to do it.
And so he wasn't very good either.
He was fine, but it was just like, I was like, there's no way they couldn't convince
him. How'd they get the new guy? Yeah, no kidding. Meanwhile, the Rockies are the only major league team in the modern era to hold a lead in the 6th inning or later in 6 straight games and lose all 6. Rough year for the Rocks. Arizona Diamondbacks are playing better. They swept 2 against Texas, and then they won 3 of 4 against Cincinnati. Corbin Carroll, the 4th rookie in history with 20 homers and 40 stolen bases in a single season, joining Mike Trout, Mitchell Page, and Tommy Agee. Also became the second player in Diamondbacks history to do so, joining Eric Burns in 2007. In the American League, the New York Yankees, they lost 2 of 3 to Washington, 2 of 3 at Tampa Bay. They have lost 12 of their last 14. They had lost 9 straight games. If they had lost 10, it would have been their longest since 1913. Brian Cashman said, quote, "It's been a disaster. It's definitely a shock. Certainly, I don't think anybody on our side of the fence, from our player group, from our coaches, our manager, or even outside the organization, would have predicted this."
So is this the year that they finally get him out of there? Is this going to happen? It's not going to happen, huh?
Nah. Especially after they try to get Shohei. But although they'll fail in that, so that'll be disappointing for them. Speaking of the Yankees, though, they lost 2 of 3 to the Tampa Rays. The bench is emptied yesterday between the Rays and the Yankees. Brandon Lau, after the game, said, "Looking at it, it's a last place team against a team that's in contention. They're trying to ignite something over there or whatever. It's not worth our time at this moment. We're focused on bigger things right now than worrying about a little on-field scuffle. We need each game. They're not really in each game." Wow.
That was great.
Go Rays. 9-3 since Wander's gone. The Rays did retire Carl Crawford's number 13 this week.
Oh.
The third number retired by the Rays.
Mr. Ray, Megan the Stallion.
Can you name the other Ray? Because one of them you won't get. But
Wade Boggs.
Wade Boggs, number 12. That's right. That's Wade Boggs, number 12. Carl Crawford's number 13. And the other number 66 for Don Zimmer.
I was gonna say, I bet it's like got to be a coach or a manager or somebody.
Yeah. How about this?
Okay.
Don Zimmer, all of his years in baseball, the most years he spent with one organization was with Tampa.
Huh.
Had no idea.
Maybe.
But so his number's retired.
Although a lot of old people retired at Tampa, so
he may have just been living. He may have been living down the street collecting a check. That's very true.
He was in the Dunes Phase 2 down the street.
That's right. Baltimore, with last Sunday's win, the Orioles became the first team in baseball to cash the over on their win total this year. It was set at just 76.5. And the Orioles currently are at 81. So they've gone well over their total for the year. But bad news for Baltimore. Their closer, Felix Bautista, who's known as Big Mountain. He needed one more strike to close out a game against Colorado, had to come out of the game, put on the 15-day injured list with what they're calling a right UCL injury, which usually means surgery.
Yeah.
And that would be horrible for Baltimore to lose their closer at this point of the season when they are arguably the best team in baseball. So not good for second best team in baseball. So rough for the Baltimore Orioles for them. Meanwhile, in the Central, Minnesota keeps they keep winning, and Cleveland just has tanked. So that's over. White Sox relieve Ken Williams and Rick Hahn of their duties, Murph.
Wow.
We're moving on.
Yeah, it was
front
bound
office.
to happen.
Front office shakeup.
It's bound to happen. It's just total. It's been kind of dysfunctional the last 3 seasons for them, though. Actually.
Yeah, it has.
It just hasn't been good. Like, it's one thing that you can stand the losing as an organization. You can just chalk that up to injuries and things happen. Baseball is a long, long season. That dysfunctionality, man, you can't abide by that. Like, you just can't. People just barking at the coach and people having fights, and that's not going to work.
No. Meanwhile, this story, the White Sox are considering leaving Guaranteed Rate Field when the team's lease expires in 6 years. Among the possibilities are moving to a new stadium in the city or suburbs, or even relocating to Nashville.
Yeah, I don't think that's good.
What would that mean for the White Sox to leave Chicago?
It would be horrible. Terrible. It'd be like the Giants leaving New York or something in football.
I don't think it can happen. Like, Reinsdorf can't let that happen, can he?
They can't let it happen. It's always been 2 teams in the Chi. It's always been a team on the South Side. You can't move a team in the suburbs. That takes away the whole legacy of the White Sox. They've always been a South Side team, man. Like, this is stupid.
To me, Nashville has now become the new Las Vegas.
It
and
is.
now that Las Vegas has the NFL, and now that Las Vegas is getting baseball, and now they have hockey, they're not the carrot that's dangled out there anymore.
Yeah.
So for baseball, it's easy. If you want a new stadium, you throw out Nashville. Yeah, we're gonna move to Nashville. You know, it used to be, oh, we're gonna move to Las Vegas. Well, now Las Vegas has a team, so Nashville's gonna be that carrot now that's gonna be dangled in front of everybody. Of, hey, get us a new stadium, taxpayers, or we may move to Nashville. I think that's what it's all about. I'd be stunned if the Chicago White Sox.
I would too.
To Nashville.
It'd be a terrible move. It'd be one of the. I don't even like, and I'm not even the White Sox head like that anymore. But come on, man, you can't do that.
In the American League, how about the American League and what is going on in the American League West right now? The Seattle Mariners have taken over first place of the American League West.
Crazy.
Through August 15th, 2 weeks ago, the Mariners were 7.5 games out. 12 games later, they're all alone in first place. And not only all alone in first place, they had to climb 2 teams.
Yep.
Texas and Houston. Mariners are on fire. They've won 11 of their last 12 games. Julio Rodriguez is on a roll. Hit his 22nd and 23rd against Kansas City. And Cal Raleigh, affectionately known as Big Dumper, became the first catcher in Mariners history with 2 homers and 6 RBIs in a game. 5th multi-home run game this season. The only Mariners players with more in a single season are Alex Rodriguez and Ken Griffey Jr. How about that?
Has he been the best offensive catcher in the league this year? Would you say?
Has to be.
Yeah,
25 homers
right?
now, and
he has
he's
to be, right?
Switch hitter.
Yeah.
He's been unbelievable. And the Mariners, their pitching's been good all year. Their lineup is finally really starting to take off, and it's got them in first place in the American League West. Texas is right there. Texas is a game back. Houston, a game back as well. LA Angels, now they're gone. Lost 17-24, and Mike Trout came back from the injured list, and one day later, he's back on. That's a little
brutal.
disappointing. All right, some of our favorite guys, Shohei Ohtani, 5 of his last 15 with 3 doubles, a triple, and a home run. So he's got 5 hits in his last 15 at bats. Those 5 hits are 3 doubles, a triple, and a home run. Hitting .307, 44 homers, 92 RBIs. 10-game on-base streak was snapped yesterday. But Ohtani, with his 44 home runs, he's 4 home runs shy of breaking the Angels' single-season record set by Troy Glaus in 2000. He's one of 3 players in franchise history with multiple 40-home-run seasons, joining Mike Trout and Troy Glaus. Now, Ohtani finished the season with 167 strikeouts. He has 2 seasons with 40 home runs and 150 pitching strikeouts. No other player has done that once in baseball history. Meanwhile, Julio Rodriguez has a 12-game hit streak. In the 12-game hit streak, he's got 28 hits, 5 doubles, 4 homers, 18 RBIs. His average is now up to 279. His 50th home run came in just his 256th game, breaking Alex Rodriguez's franchise record for fewest games needed to reach 50 career home runs. J-Rod breaks A-Rod's 97 record by an impressive 13-game margin. Impressive.
Video game numbers that you just gave me. There's some silly numbers that you just gave me.
Julio Rodriguez, number 44 for your Seattle Mariners. Also, he's the second player in Mariners history with 40 hits and 10 stolen bases in a month. Had 40 hits and 10 stolen bases in a month, joining Ichiro, who did that 4 times. And then Ellie De La Cruz, this week, a homer, a triple, 6 RBIs, 3 stolen bases, hitting .248, 11 homers, 33 RBIs. He's got 22 stolen bases in the time that he has been with the Reds. Meanwhile, guys, I am on fire betting the Cardinals. Why? Bet against them. Last 2 weeks, I'm now 11-2 betting Cardinals games.
Wow.
I'm now 70-61 on the season. That is good for a 14-game lead over the Cardinals themselves. So I've opened it up on the Cardinals. So I'm 70-61 betting the Cardinals this year, 11-2 in the last 13. Pretty impressive.
How do you sleep at night, Fish, doing that, man? Like,
betting against the Cardinals?
Yeah, pretty easily, I would think.
Cashing my check. That's how. Cash those tickets. This week, the Cardinals will take on the Padres for 3, and then the Pirates again for 3. Okay.
Let's go Wainwright.
Come on, Waino.
Waino.
He's going against the Padres
199, 199 or bust.
One.
He's not going to beat Blake Snell tonight, but this weekend when he faces the Pirates, maybe there's that chance. Cubbies, they take on Milwaukee for 3, and then they're at Cincinnati for 4. So big division week for the Cubs.
Yeah, this is do or die for us, man. If we don't do what we have to do with these next 2 series, they could be our wild card standing. That could be it.
This is big. Trying to catch Milwaukee, and Cincinnati's on your tail. So taking on those 2 teams, got to take care of business. The Braves, meanwhile, in Colorado for 3. And then at the Dodgers for 4.
Oh, that's going to be a good.
Strider is supposed to start Wednesday against the Rockies, but now there's talk that they're going to sit him until the Dodgers series.
Yeah.
And Ozzy Albies supposedly is coming back this week, and he'll play against the Dodgers too. So
that's good.
Everyone's starting to get healthy. Maybe Kyle Wright will be back too.
Yeah, nice. Houston's at Boston, Cleveland at Minnesota, Cincinnati's in San Francisco, and Arizona's at the Dodgers for 3 this week. This weekend, Minnesota visits Texas. Philadelphia's at Milwaukee, and Baltimore will be in Arizona to take on the Diamondbacks. But there you go. There you have it for this week's show. Good luck to those Cubs. Big week. Big, huge week for the Cubs, Murph. Good luck to the Cubs.
I hope our pitching just gets a little bit solidified this week, because we're going to need it, because, man, we're going to need it. I mean, come on, man. Back-to-back series like that. Who's coming up with these games, man? Who's coming up with it? Come on.
Cardinals just faced Philadelphia for the first time this year.
Oh, that's weird.
Which I thought was kind of interesting.
Yeah.
Although great, and then got swept. So it was cool. Lang, good luck with your team. Enjoy staying up late and watching some late night baseball this week.
I know. I'm actually going to be in Atlanta over the weekend. So I'll be on the East Coast for those West Coast games. So that's going to be interesting.
Well, beautiful. All right. Yeah. And go Adam Wainwright. Come on,
yeah.
Waino.
Do it,
Get
Waino.
199 tonight. Come on. All right, that's going to do it for this edition of Infield Fly. Thanks for joining us, talking baseball with you this week. We'll do it again next week. Next week will be a day later because of the holiday. We'll be recording on Tuesday, so that'll come your way Tuesday instead of Monday next week. For more baseball, make sure you tune in next week here on Infield Fly. For Lang Whitaker, for Keith Murphy, I'm Rob Fisher. Thanks for joining us here on Infield Fly. We'll talk to you again next week, talking baseball. Go Cubbies!
Yeah.